Well, we're just days away from one of the most important elections in U.S. history, one with far-reaching implications, not just for America, but right here in the Middle East. Months of lower oil prices have taken a major toll on Gulf Arab economies and a bite from state coffers. With oil prices stuck firmly around $40 a barrel, OPEC Plus members are under serious pressure. I asked some of the biggest names in oil to weigh in.
Who is better for oil prices?
Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. I'm going to go with Donald Trump.
I'm going to go with Donald Trump next year, but Joe Biden in 3 years.
Yes.
Well, I think that the difference is what we saw last April, the United States stepping forward to broker the deal between Saudi Arabia and Russia, and probably Joe Biden wouldn't have necessarily have taken that kind of step. So I think that answers your question for you.
I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's
transition.
a big statement.
It is a big statement. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies.
This is the clearest statement we've had from Joe Biden on his plans for the oil and gas sector.
This, to me, Halima, shows the stark difference in worldview between these two candidates.
When we just think about this, Hadley, American energy dominance is what the Trump administration talked about. Essentially saying the U.S. resource gives us the ability to punish our adversaries like Iran, like Venezuela, and not pay the price at the pump. And they looked at what happened in 2019. Remember the spectacular attacks that we had that no one's talking about on tankers off the coast of the UAE, on Saudi Arabia's key energy facilities like Abqaiq. And they say, look, prices didn't rise that much because we have this U.S. resource. And so essentially we can not be as involved in the Middle East.
Should the Saudis be worried about a Joe Biden presidency?
I think they should be worried about any presidency. Republicans and Democrats are gearing up for some tough words and possibly tough actions on Saudi Arabia. And they have not played their cards right.
You have to remember that over the last 4 years, the Trump administration, via their maximum pressure campaign, has kept Iranian crude pretty much off the market. But a Biden administration could change that. When you think about the flashpoints in the region, what comes to mind immediately for you?
Number one is, of course, what happens with Iran. So you've got Iraq, you've got Lebanon, Syria, where the Iranians really are beyond flexing their muscles. They have their proxies on the ground and want to make sure that they're able to continue that presence there.
And there is some concern that the people around President Biden are the same people who were around President Obama. They'll want to undo everything that President Trump has done. They'll want to go back to President Obama's approach, which at the time brought us the nuclear deal, but also gave a lot of space for Iran to grow in its ambitions and power in the region. So there's some fear that we could see a repeat of that.
Ultimately, the best solution for the region is for the Americans and the Iranians to speak, to come to a deal that includes the Arabs of this region, whether it's the Gulf Arabs, whether it's the Iraqis, even the Egyptians and others who have a stake in this region. But that's in an ideal scenario, and we all know that's not how politics works.
On September 15, 2020, the United States ushered in a historic agreement, the Abraham Accords, linking the UAE, Israel, and Bahrain for the very first time. I had the chance to catch up with the architect of that strategy, Jared Kushner.
President Trump worked to build trust with the Israelis and with others, and that was actually well received in the region. A lot of positive statements for it. And what it showed the rest of the region was that Israel was willing to make historic compromises to advance the cause of peace.
I really do believe that when people see what normalization looks like, when they see that there can be mutual prosperity, when they see that this is a road to understanding, to reconciliation, it will help bring peace generally across the Gulf.
We may have a new president come November. Do you think that that changes anything with regards to the momentum that you're describing behind this deal and the potential of others?
Well, I really hope it won't, because Joe Biden came out and he was very supportive of the deal. My only concern is that, everybody knows Jared Kushner was really the architect of this. He took this, and put 100% of his attention into this and his efforts into this. I'm concerned that if there's no Jared involved here, then the momentum might slow down.
Oil prices, the peace process, Iran, Iraq, all of these are issues that the next administration is going to have to deal with. But they also will now contend with the growing influence of China right here in the GCC.
this kind of growing divergence between the United States and China, this fragmentation of globalization that we're seeing is actually the biggest risk. And I think when I talk to countries in that region, in the Middle East, when I talk to people in Asia, when I talk to people in Latin America, they worry about having to choose and being caught in the middle between the United States and China. And if something isn't done to stop this split that's now going on, it will be more difficult. And I think that's a mega problem for the world, and I think for that region.
Well, you heard from the experts, but we want to hear from you. Who do you think will be the best president for the Middle East, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Be sure to add your comments below. Thanks for watching.